Yo, it's your host, Queen Supreme, and this is Time Out. How's everybody doing? And here on Time Out, we are making awareness for missing and exploited children, people of America. And, this is near and dear to my heart because I was abducted myself. So this story, it runs close to home. We're talking about Kate's story, where she has been taken from her home in broad daylight. And she tried to escape one time, but it did not work. The detectives have no clue to where she's at, no leads. But she does recognize some of the abductors' voices. And so when we left off, she had got the keys from her abductor because he dropped them in a squabble with one of his homeboys. So with that being said, let's go ahead and subscribe to my blog, Supreme Podcast Hits, as well as hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at The Real Super Savage. Also, there will be a Women's Day conference starting tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Tickets are free. Just inbox me. That made sense. Just inbox me. And it's called Discover You, which is also a podcast that I'm starting with the mind, body, and soul of the human being. Basically, trying to get back to loving yourself again, getting back to making positive decisions and not going off of emotional outbursts in order to get a resolution to any kind of question or concern or anything that you are going through. So with that being said, please attend. Yes, it is a women's conference, but in 2 more weeks, I will have one for the men. So with that being said, let's get Kate's story going. When we last talked about Kate's story, she was hiding the keys from her abductor, and they were looking for them. So let's go ahead and see how the detectives are doing on her side. They have basically gotten anywhere. They're trying to call it a cold case. It's been 6 months since she was taken from her home. There is no clue. So, this is what the judicial system does. They give up on missing and exploited human beings or children, children, women, or men. They give up on them after a while. The search starts off intense, but after they don't have the results they're looking for within a couple of months, then you just become another face on a billboard. And we're trying to get away from that kind of antics, that kind of thinking that it's okay to forget about someone that is missing. So Kate has the keys to unfree herself. And back where she is from, which is Atlanta, the detectives, they've hit another dead end. And so they're getting ready to basically call it a cold case. And getting ready to call her family and let her family know that, if something changes, let us know. And just when they get ready to do that, a tip calls in. And the tip is that there is some strange activity in her cornfield. Now, this is a country-like lady, older lady, and she owns a couple of 100 acres of land. Well, she's never really able to get to all her land because she's gotten older. So she does a little bit of land at a time. Doing her crops and tending to her job that she does, to her farm. Well, she sees a cargo on her land. Cargo ain't supposed to be there. She never authorized the cargo to be there, and so she's reporting the cargo. Keep in mind that is where Kate is being held. Now they don't know that this is their break that they're getting. They just think this is a normal call. So they say, yeah, we'll check it out. Now, normally, if it's not a 911 call, you know what they're doing. They're going to send out a car eventually. And so they don't know, though, but that was a tip. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by every day you go through life seeing things that are abnormal, but you won't report it. You never do report it. You always go on about your life like everything is cool. And everything is not cool. And so they just thought it was a regular call. And time is precious of the essence. And so about 30, 45 minutes pass and, they sent the car out there. Well, when they send the car out there, the car goes out there and they don't see any cargo. And she's telling them, it's on my land. And they say, well, ma'am, we'll have to bring out some more officers. She said, well, why would you just, bring one? They're back and forth arguing. When the whole time the police is supposed to surveillance what the woman was talking about. But they did it. They were lazy. They sent one squad car with one police officer in there to the woman's home. And so he never did go back there and check out what the woman was talking about. He said he'd come back with some more police later. Since it wasn't life or death. Nobody got shot, nothing like that. So if you want this off your land, call this and that number. She said she know what number to call, but that was unusual and she wanted to get to the bottom of it. Couldn't get to the bottom of it. So the police leave. And when the police leave, nobody ever knew that Kate was in there. I mean, there was nothing done. So they get back to the station and they tell them, the land's too big. We figured that she just going crazy. You're supposed to be a police officer. You're supposed to be of the law. You're supposed to be able to check shit out and save people's lives. You never know what was in that cargo if it was something in there. But they just let it go by the wayside. So Kate is in there and she has the keys and her hands are free. They just locked down her feet and her head to that thing. So she frantically trying to see what keys go to which, trying to get unlocked, ungrounded. She was grounded. She trying to unlock herself. So she don't want to make too much noise. So she taking the keys little by little, trying to turn the key to each lock. That's the one that's on her head and the one that's on her foot. And it's not working. It ain't working. And she's scared and she's sweating and the dang on keys and they slipping. And she's scared that any moment they gonna come back in there looking for them keys. And she just trying to work fast, but can't work too fast without making a lot of noise. And she don't know even where she at. And so she finally, for about an hour or 2 hours, she finally gets the lock undone for her feet. Now she got to get her head. She can't find the key to get the head done unlocked. So basically, if they come back in there, see her feet unlocked and her head still open, they know that she got the keys. So she is frantic. Because if she can undo that lock on her head, she can undo the lock at the door and get out. But she hears a noise outside and it's them coming back. So she got to hurry up and get back in the lock that she just got out of, all that fucking hard work, and then hide the keys up underneath herself and then act like that nothing is nothing. And that's what she did. And when they came back in, they were so mad that they couldn't find the keys. They took it out on her and they beat her saying it was her fault, that all this was going on. They beat her and they beat her and they beat her. Keep in mind, we already know who has abducted her. It was the guys that had did the bank robbery and she didn't want to take their case. So this is kind of like their revenge. And so, they beat her for hours and hours and left her like that. And she just, she's clinging on to life at this point in time. Been abducted 6 months going through the same shit. So, they left her there, bloody and everything. Now, you would think that she must have had these keys, man, because they beating them. I mean, the keys gonna fall or something, but they never found the keys. But she's beaten so bad, she can't move. She can't move and she messed up. Now, when we return, we'll get to the part to where the officers have to come back out there because the old woman just keep calling and they driving the police crazy. But will she ever get out of this? I mean, at this point in time in your life, you have to feel like, I give up. I mean, I've done everything. I've exhausted all my resources. And then that's what you're not supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? When you're going through a storm and your abductor has took you, you got to fight with everything in you to get up out of there. But you know, you never know until you put in that situation. So with that being said, when we come back, we will hear Kate's story continue, the nightmare of being taken from her home in time out. We are back on Time Out, talking about Kate's story. She's been abducted from her home. And we are going to go ahead and finish this episode off with you leaving and lingering a question. And not did she get founded or did she get killed? That's not the question anymore. The question is, what links are you going to go to survive? She's already killed one of the abductors, and try to wrap your around this part. When someone you know is missing, or even just for if you dial your mother's number or your brother's number and you call them all day and they normally answer but they didn't answer that day, just think of that worry right there. You instantly get worried, and you haven't talked to them all day, and that's just how the minutes go by with Kate's family. The months have went by, and try to get that through your head, how it is and how important that it is that you find a way to reach out and help someone or something. I don't care if it's passing around flyers. I don't care if it's giving out 1-800 hotline numbers. Just don't turn your back on things like this, because it's bigger than Corona. It's bigger than whatever man-made thing that they're coming up with, that they're trying to discombobulate you with so you won't be able to pay attention. But with that being said, next Wednesday we will see what lengths does she go, because she got to get up out of there. It's life or death for her. Life or death. And I want to thank you all for listening and caring about the missing children and women and men in America. Thank you.